we'll learn some things which is lacking actually in between chip memory. So I want to dedicate my lecture to Sri Varun Agarwal, who is my spiritual guide. Who is my spiritual guide? So yeah. So I want
all participants to kindly put their phones either on aeroplane mode or on silent mode so that the sessions are not disturbed. Thank you.
So yeah. So I want to dedicate my lecture to Sri Varun Agarwal, who is my spiritual guide and who guides me in a good path. So yeah, he's already Bhaktivedanta Rajendra Kumar Swami. So who is the director of Bhaktivedanta Institute. So these are the outline of this presentation. So first we'll go to the evolution of memory, how it started, and with how much like evolution of memory, like how it started means like from the size to the capacity, and now where we are in this generation. And next we'll go to the like chip memory, like how origins, how it started, how the people originated, developed it from starting. And next we'll go to the like human memory evolutionary perspective, how the people have evolved this its perspective of human memory. Next, we'll go to the limitations of chip memory and human memory. Next, the people, how they enhanced the cognitive till now. And next, we'll see the ethics, values, and memory. And next, consciousness in chip memory and human memory, we'll see. And next, from these things, we'll see how it's related to from Vedactic perspective. So we can see evolution of memory. So first in 1890s, first they started like with punch cards. Punch cards is like a sheets of fabricated perforated papers. So they first formed a data storage, which they instrumented a computer by the like photoelectric scanning. So it can record up to a storage of only 0.28 KB. With 0.28 KB, like now we can't even take information of one page. So from there it has started of 0.28 KB. Next, slowly evolved like from 1951. They took like magnetic tapes began. So they after that they again with the help of magnetic tapes, they again began to they used that instead of the sponge cards. They so it little more capacity is increased like to 25 KB like that. So again, our international business mission company, like they invented like in 1956 they invented the like world first hard drive. So it is almost its size is about 50 plus 24-inch, and its RPM is about 200, and the storage is only for 5 MB. So it's very big size. Size is very big, and RPM is about 200 RPM. But the storage is only for 5 MB. So we are evolved in this way. And next, and again slowly again 1971, same international business missions. And before that also like some Philips like company, I think they released some cassette type. So it's around only 0.66 MB. And next again evolved in 1971, this again international business mission. They introduced the first hard disks. It's about like they linely introduced the three things. Like first they introduced of 8-inch of storage, like 0.8 MB. Next again the size of the storage is reducing like 5.25 inch, and the capacity is increasing, like storage capacity 1.2 MB. Again slowly 1982 again it reduced to 3.5 inch. Again the capacity of storage is 1.44 MB. So next slowly again in 1982, like Sony Philips, they discovered about the cassette, like which especially records audio files, movies, like this kind of things. It stores around 100 MB. And same in 1991 sand disks. So presently in 2006, like with cloud computing, like we can see Amazon have launched that they launched the web servicing. It says that almost 94% hard drive Google Drive we use for capacity, storage capacity. And 60% we use the Dropbox, and I think 30% some one drop we use for storage capacity. So slowly like from we can see in the images like up to that much size of storage capacity, very big size, which has a capacity of 5 MB. We can see in that images the size is very big, and it can storage only up to 5 MB. So now it has increased, evolved like up to we'll slowly see that how much now we evolved up now where we are like. So next, so so those we have seen the evolution of the chip memory. So from small, how much small to now where we are. So now actually how its origin has started, actually how this much small chip we can make now. So like in early days, like from mid 20th century, computer memory was actually primarily based on the vacuum tubes and magnetic core memory. Before that, integrated circuits have came into the picture. So when the integrated circuits came into the picture, integrated circuits are like millions of capacitors, transistors, and iodes, which were fabricating in a small chip. So that is no that is when that thing came, the integrated circuits, actually they this uh, Jack Kilby of Texas Instruments and Robert of Fairchild Semiconductors. So when they developed these integrated circuits, it came from that much big, very big of storage capacity, very big size of memory storage to it's very small size to this. So this is the origin where integrated circuits came into the picture. Next. So and slowly after that, again when the integrated circuits came into the picture, so slowly again it evolved. Like again, international business missions have they first with the help of integrated circuits, they first developed this flip memory in 1964. Again, DRAM, like the dynamic uh, uh, dynamic resource access memory, dynamic random access memory. They actually first they introduced in the 1960s. It has become the dominant thing with respect to previous ones. So they actually the DRAM stores actually it the dynamic uh, this it can store each bit of data like a charge, like a charge and a capacitor within the memory cell. So it has that thing. So but it should be always refreshed with respect to periodic times to store any memory. So next again SRAM came. Static random access memory. It's a type of chip memory. It uses the, like in first we have seen with use of integrated circuits. It uses the flip flop to store each bit of data. But unlike DRAM, like DRAM should have always are just like refreshed periodically. It should be refreshed to store a data. But in SRAM we don't require this type of periodic refreshment. So again it evolved. Like it only until we have the power supplied, the data can be stored in SRAM. So again we have flash memory. It is like a non-volatile form of chip memory that returns data in even if the power is off also we can return data. Like it was developed in 1980s. So this is the origin of integrated circuits, and next they evolved slowly. So so now we have seen the chip memory, how we from where to where we came and how its origin has developed. Now we see the human memory also. Uh, Human memory, how it is in its evolutionary perspective. Like so, actually, early memory mechanisms can be observed even in a simple organisms. It is actually very essential for the basic survival functions, like to find the food which we like, and to be the avoid the predators, and to take care of ourselves from other bad things or good things, whatever it may be. So like, and next after that again different memory systems, the evolutionary perspective, like after that they introduce sensory memory, short term memory, long term memory. Like sensory memory, yes, these memory systems actually hold the sensory informations, whatever the sensory information we have through our senses, like from eyes which we see, or from touch, or from the senses. And short term memory, also known as like it's a working memory. It holds the information temporarily and also manipulates. Actually its capacity is short term memory capacity is big, but it is only up to only small time. The long term memory is responsible for storage and if of information extended periods. Its capacity is also very high. We can remember up to a very large time. With respect to our past times, if there is a past events, if we have any a big thing or any situation happens, so the long term memory we can remember like it's for up to long time. Next, again the perspective of episodic memory. Again, episodic memory is a type of, like let's say, long term memory that allows us to recall specific events and experience from our past. Next, adapt to advantages of human memory. Next is semantic memory. Semantic memory is like according to our past events which are very plays a very crucial in role or anything in past events that we'll remember. That is no semantic memory. So these are evolutionary perspectives. They recognize memory evolution like these things. So like adaptive advantages of human memory, semantic memory. So from early memories to sensor memory, short term, like this they evolved perspectives of human memories. So now we'll see the chip. Actually, we seen the from technology from very small, very big size and less storage. Now we came up to small size and very big, large data storage. And also we see some of the perspectives human evolutionary perspectives. But where we are lacking actually, what is missing in chip memory, limitations of chip memory. So we'll see some of the fundamental things with respect to human memory actually. So if you see that, so first come to storage memory is actually whatever the size presently we have, like maybe 100 TB or 200 TB, whatever it is, but it's up to some capacity. We can um, we'll keep a some certain line, and we have some up to some restriction is there actually. Storage capacity, chip memory has a finite capacity determined by the number of memory cells it contains. So it is not a, like infinite type, like it also have a some kind of thing like up to some certain limit, even now also storage capacity. So other than that, if you go flexibility and adaptability, like actually chip memory is designed for specific purposes. Actually see the purposes are storing and retrieving data and whatever the information you want to store. It has that purpose. We are giving that purpose to retrieving data for computer systems, but it lacks the flexibility and adaptability of human memory, which can encode or store or recall a range of information or experiences what we are having. That is missing in that actually. So next, like if you go to like contextual understanding, like human memory has the ability to capture and recall information which is rich contextual framework. But where we like if you see we can remember the events, associated emotions, sensory details, overall context which they occurred. But chip memory as nothing, like it only depends upon the data, like data or the bytes, only depends upon that whatever we are giving to it. So it doesn't go with the emotions or sensory details, these things. So now and emotional and personal significance, like human memory is deeply intertwined and emotions and personal significance. Like with respect to human memory, according to our wish or according to our consciousness thing, we can intervene that thing with emotions or personal significance. But whereas in memory, it doesn't follow all these things. It only depends upon this byte storage, only these things. Next. Next. So again, next, some biological limitations, like chip memory is not subjected to same biological limitations as human memory. Like human memory is like according to our age grows, or according to our situation or environment, our brain or memory changes according to that. Like according to our age, health issues, so like we get stress, trauma, or which can impact our formulation and retention, these things on memory. But whereas chip memory has nothing with this. So human memory is on biological limitations and sensory with respect to sound, smell, taste, everything. Like memory is, as human memory has some connections with everything, these things. But whereas chip memory has no connection. It's like something is missing in that. We'll see that actually lack of something. So next. So cognitive enhancement, like recently over the years, some people are working in these things, and they did something cognitive enhancement, like study of mind. Like increasing the effectiveness of mind, and cognitive enhancement. So first they did like neurofeedback. That neurofeedback is actually is a technique that uses real-time feedback or brain activity to train individuals for self-regulate their brain functions, using this fMRI, like functional magnetic resonance imaging. With this, they can do self-regulate if there's something like techniques for brain activity to train individuals. Next we have TDS is an non-invasive brain stimulation process. Like by using the technology, we can like electrodes attached to scalp to remove a small electrical current to particular brain areas. It is a And also we have TMS. TMS is a like here we keep the electrodes attached to the scalp. There we give the area where we want to keep that stimulation. Where we want to keep the area, there we can directly keep with the TMS. Next, also we have some of the process for cognitive. They actually it is increasing cognitive enhancements like over the years with different type of types, like they are increasing the effectiveness and studying the studying the mind, so with different type of things. But actually here also some core thing is missing. The people are doing different type of cognitive enhancement, but actually the fundamental thing is missing, the foundation they are doing with this. But next slide we'll see actually. No, before so okay. So again, next, by using the pharmacological approaches by cognitive enhancement, like this cognitive enhancement using the pharmacological approaches, like using drugs which can modify the chemistry, like actually if we using the drugs, the dopamine levels will be increasing with like metafin diet or mode of pills. So with this actually effectiveness of the cognitive effectiveness will be increasing. But actually is there something behind that, or only with respect to this pharmacological approaches with using by this drugs only is everything is happening? So and next to BCIS, um, that allow the direct brain to external, actually it is a communication type, like between the external, it is a communication device between the external and the brain, direct brain. So like through it, brain activity they can utilize to improve cognitive skills. We can control the external device through it. So they're improving like with the cognitive enhancement from brain. So actually if we question ourselves, like can we have this much? So why I told, because cognitive enhancement, we did this one cognitive enhancement. um so actually, so can human consciousness be uploaded in a chip? Can we upload that? So we have, whilst there we have now AI, artificial intelligence, we have significant advancement have been made in the neuroscience and artificial intelligence. Our understanding of the consciousness is underlying mechanism is still limited. For example, actually now we can actually we have a now we have a technology of storing a, like keeping a chip. With respect to that, we can take the rats or mouse to information, we can take a storage of it, whatever memory it has, we can take the information from and that storage. But actually can we take the actual thing that consciousness? So consciousness can be taken, we can take the is actually a big question. Can we take, we can take the information through it, can we, are we taking the consciousness through that, from that? So consciousness is not solely determined by the physical structure, the brain, but also involves subjective experiences, emotions, and sense of self. These aspects of consciousness are challenging to quantify and replicate. So it depends. Consciousness we can't directly take. We can, maybe we can take the storage, the information from the thing, but we can't take the consciousness from. So because consciousness involves the subject to experience emotions and sense of self. So even if we are, so next question is actually from philosophical perspective, even if we are able to replicate the structure and functions of the brain, like would the continuation of the person subject to experience exactly the same consciousness, producing the same consciousness, or would copy with the different stream of consciousness? So next, so with actually memory, human memory, if we compare again chip memory versus human memory, so what chip memory doesn't have, with human memory what we can do. So these are important in our life, like ethics and values, uh, and memory. So memory as a moral archive, like it means like memory serves as a repository of past experiences which we have done, like it recollects the past experiences, actions, and outcomes. So it can provide the raw material of ethical reflection with respect to that past outcomes which we are seeing and experiencing from that past outcomes. With that information, we can have the ethical reflection from the past experiences. So and which actually chip can't have this with these things. So moral decision making, like memory plays a critical role in moral decision, and we rely on our memories to recall moral principles, ethical norms, and past judgments. And moral emotions, like moral emotions are more important in helping people make moral decisions, since memory and emotions are connected. So because whatever the we are going, like we are from the very uh, now that technology is very drastically increasing, but the fundamental foundation is missing in that. Actually we from the chip, where actually very big size, almost 50 plus 24-inch of a memory, which has a 5 MB of storage. Now we came up to a very inch of a chip which can store up to even 50 GB or 100 GB also. But the fundamental thing is missing. That's why the fundamental thing is missing. So that's why, so I'm comparing it with the human memory. What it is missing in that. So with respect to human memory also, the people are going like cognitive enhancement, these things they're doing, but they're also they are, maybe they are taking the storage information from the mouse, but actually something that consciousness is missing from that. So that because the consciousness is depends upon the emotions, emotions or the it is the subjective matter with subjective matter within ourselves actually. So from that human memory, why it is important, so like we can see the moral, because human memory is dependent upon these all things, moral emotions and important in helping people and ethical implications. So next, so we can see the now we can see the consciousness versus chip memory. So
Excuse me, Mr. Jagadishwar. You have a few more minutes to wind it up. Kindly
okay,
wind it up within the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
so we can see, so the most important things is actually why I compared the both is for this consciousness, human memory versus chip memory for this consciousness. So we can see why consciousness which is lagging in the chip memory. So electronic like computer memory is in the form of chip memory, which has lacks consciousness. So it is a crucial part of computing systems made to store. It is actually made to store some data, but lacks the conscious awareness of or subjective awareness. So various experiments have explored the relation between the memory recall and conscious awareness. For example, there is a remember versus knowing. With sometimes suppose if we see a movie, so from starting to end we have that information of that movie, but suppose three members are saying that the same movie from starting to end, individual has his own perspective. He likes maybe some action movie, some has some likes some game part in that movie. So individual has his own perspective. Maybe the information is same for everyone, the same movie is seeing, but it has individual own consciousness to like whatever it is. So that is the example of like remembering versus knowing. With knowing the same information, but everyone has their individual own uh, remembering rememberness. So next, the binding problem. We all know the binding problem is actually, suppose if you have example like a rose or something, so we can see with our eyes and we can smell with our nose, we can touch with our senses. So individual conscious, like individual unique seeing or smelling, everything is stored in our consciousness, but with memories getting all together of this consciousness as a one. So in this way also consciousness is using, these are some of the example. Consciousness is existing in the human memory, which is not in the chip memory. So why consciousness is also important, we'll see. And next, the mirror self recognition test is we up to after 1.5 year 2 years only we can, after 1.5 2 years only every person can get his can self recognize. Like if you're standing before a mirror, we can recognize ourselves because of our consciousness. So next, so why consciousness is important, actually why I've compared the both and I was shown the evaluation of the chip memory and what is lacking between that, and how cognitive enhancement has done, and what is actually they are also missing the fundamental or foundation from that. That is, we have seen the consciousness and why consciousness is important. What I understood from the Vedantic perspective is consciousness is the essence of our being, and memory is the expression of that consciousness. Consciousness is one of the most important thing in our every human being. Uh, and memory is the direct thing, direct expression of the consciousness. From and according to the Vedas, it tells that consciousness is the eternal, that is a part of Atman or the self, which resides inside every living being. So if one if why if we are comparing everything, so for the consciousness we did all this. So if one understand the consciousnness, one is good, or one believing that the consciousness exists. So consciousness is the direct property of Atma. So next level, everyone will be go to the Atman. Atman is like a spirit or a soul, we can tell that. So it tells that, so consciousness is eternal, it's a part of Atman, like a property, like electron has a negative charge. So it is like also a property of that soul. So as the Atma is there, soul is there. So soul as a property of consciousness, and consciousness is the expression of the memory. So this is the and the importance of the transcending memory based consciousness is emphasized in the scriptures to realize the true self. So this consciousness is to transcending our consciousness and memory. So actually to realize the true self, who we are actually. So again, in the last, and human memory is essential for spiritual development and self-realization according to the Vedas and the scriptures. it means of preserving and meditate, like actually of why human memory is essential for spiritual development, because it preserving and meditating on spiritual knowledge influence one's thoughts and actions, and the world view also really changes with respect to this. So this is the, so final my conclusion is actually, from memory, from the both we have seen that memory, of consciousness, and from consciousness is a property of soul. So, and this is the, for telling, for bringing into this, so I have tried a little. So next, yeah, thank you.
Do we have any questions, any queries regarding this? We can take a couple of queries regarding this topic.
And your presentation was wonderful. I have a question that I was not so attentive before, So I want to know which this chip, memory chip portion corresponds to a brain. Which portion of the brain this chip corresponds to? That you were explaining that AI, we have a memory chip.
Yeah.
So what portion of the brain we can assign that job to?
Actually, what I had the idea is actually, I have seen somewhere like the portion of the brain is like, they are connecting to some neurons. I think the chip is very small, which we can't even see the connection of wires with which he has with naked eye. So that is connected to the neurons. With respect to that, connection to the neurons, how it is responding from that, we are getting the information like that.
What substance this neurons of chip is made of?
Silicon, I think.
Silicon. And this brain neurons, it's a different substance.
Yeah.
So how are they acting like the same thing?
Brain substances are.
These neurons of our brain.
Yeah.
How this, it's not silicon, right?
Yeah, it's not silicon.
Silicon. So how these silicons are made to behave the same way?
That is so deep into artificial intelligence, but
doing the same job.
Yeah, but as much as knowledge I have is actually they have some process inside that, but they are connecting the wire which is to the chip. Artificial intelligence has created some chip presently. It's evolved actually, 2-3 chips they created now. Presently something, one chip is there that it has some wires. So the very small wires is connected to our neurons. With that, the neurons, how it is responding, that information will be gathered in some system like that.
Look,
that up to that I can.
You are comparing how the brain stores information, how this chip stores information. So we have to have some elementary ideas of the material used also. Here the material used is like this, and the material used is like this. The process the brain is going through to store the information, and the process the chips are using to store the information. We need to learn more, we want to know more. Okay, next time. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we have one more question before we conclude the talk.
So this is not a question actually. So I have a suggestion. So we are missing out on some important information. I was expecting some sort of experimental data, since we have been doing a lot of experiments and we have been doing a lot of quantification. So I was expecting a certain amount of experimental data. But just a suggestion regarding this. We are missing out on an important information which has revolutionized the country, revolutionized the world. It's called neural networks, right? So when we are talking about consciousness, you told a number of times, consciousness is not just about emotions. Emotions we can very easily quantify. There are a lot of tools available, the neural network, the machine learning, and you must be knowing about the convolutional neural networks, where we can train the system, right? We have been missing out on that. We can train the system whether it is happy, whether the emotion is happy, whether the emotion is sad, and we can then later on act on that. But that is not consciousness, right? Consciousness is something much more even greater. So we can train the system we can train them with happy, sad, we can train how it is going on, and then we can validate the set. So neural networks is very crucial. We have been missing out on whatever lectures that we have been hearing. I have not heard about the neural networks, and we are talking about rat models. I think we should talk more about human models, how those systems work on humans, how the human neuronal system works. I know that it is difficult to do invasive things on humans, but there are a lot of things, like you were telling about TMS. It's called transcranial magnetic stimulation. And all these are non-invasive, and all these ways you can have a probe into the human brain. We do EEG and fMRI studies, and from that we can know how the brain works and how time evolution works, how with time everything changes, how the emotion perception changes. All these things we can do. I guess this is actually a suggestions. We can talk about these things. We can talk about these scientific discoveries later, because all these things are going on throughout the world, right? Thank you.